But anyway, I went for a walk. To tell you now what Ballyslap Guthrie is like, you know. I went for a walk down the village only one day. Just one day. So, you know, you should come and live there because everything is happening the whole time. I was walking down the street and I was passing by Finnegan's house and he was inside in the garden with a big dog. And I looked in over the fence and I said to him, I didn't know you had a dog. He says, I don't. And I said, what's that? Ah, he says, that's my neighbour's dog, he says. The damn thing, he says, I hadn't had a wink of sleep in 4 nights with it barking. So I'm gonna get even with that fella, he says. I'm going to try it here in my garden tonight and see how he likes it. And then I went on strolling down the village and I was passing by Mickey Flynn's shop. You know, he's one of these fellas that fixes glasses and gives you a glass eye and all that kind of. He's an optician, I think they're called. And you know, only in Ballyslap Guthrie would this kind of thing happen. As I was walking by the window, I looked and I couldn't believe at the sign I saw. The sign was in the window and it said, if you can't read this sign, come in at once, you might need glasses. And then, on the way back, I met Mrs. Kilfoosica. And she said, oh, Flaherty, did you hear that old John Scanlon died? And I said, no, I'm sorry to hear that, God help us. She said, well, I'm a kind of a relation of his, you know, and I was at the reading of the will, and I thought it was kind of funny. I thought, I tell you, the will ended up. This is the way he wrote the last of the will. And finally, to my no-good son-in-law, Sean, whom I promised I would mention in my will. Hello there, Sean. But anyway, I have all kinds of queer neighbours, you know. There's a fellow lives on the right-hand side of me, which is about 400 yards away, you know, but the village is kind of scattered. And this fella, he got a kind of a fad recently, and my old wheelbarrow isn't working, hasn't worked for a long time. And I've been borrowing wheelbarrows around the village, you know. So this fella has a fad with all this highfalutin poetry and Shakespeare and all that. And he has his 2 little sons driven crazy, trying to shove this stuff into them. So I went down anyway, and I knocked on the door, and there was no reply. But when you knock on a door in Ballyslap Guthrie and there's no reply, you just walk in, you see. So I walked in and the first thing I see is a big hand up in front of my face before I could open my mouth. And he's standing inside in the room and his little 9-year-old son is standing in front of him with his mouth open. And the father is going, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, and make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet, don't look too good, nor talk too wise. And you know, I never heard so many ifs in all my life. Since I was with the bank manager a month ago. And then I think I heard more because he was, if you could have collateral, if you could have property, if you could have a co-signer, if. I said to him, if I had money I wouldn't be in here at all.